Good evening, everybody, wherever you may be. This is Dr. Willie Jolley.
And I'm Dee Taylor-Jolley.
My beautiful bride, Dee Taylor-Jolley, and we're the authors of the book, Make Love,
Make Money,
Make It Last, 10 Secrets to Shape a Great Marriage. And we hope that you are ready for a great night tonight on how to improve and deal with and be excited about your relationship, your marriage.
And our topic is...
We had so many people who discussed last week's show.
We didn't finish.
And we realized that so many want to hear it. Becky Anderson is now in Florida. She went from Arkansas to Florida.
Oh, wow.
She just joined us.
I hope you're in the warm part of Florida, because all of Florida is not warm, right?
Yeah, she's in a warm part. So when we
and not in the Tampa area with the bad water.
She's not in the Tampa area.
Oh, hi Becky.
And so we love Becky. She is our friend. We met her when I was speaking for Walmart many years ago. Okay, let's get going. Talking about expectation or unrealistic expectations, the impact that
I said destroy, you said kill. So there you go.
It can kill your marriage, because the studies show that 42% of marriages break up because of unrealized expectations. So Barbara Myrick is here from Unrealistic. I'm sorry, Unrealistic Expectations.
That means like unreasonable.
Unreasonable or unrealistic. And you know what?
What?
Was it Proverbs, Psalm 62 that Pastor Jenkins talked about the other day? With unrealized or unrealistic expectations, even in your faith, can make you angry.
That's why I don't remember what the verse was, but that was part of it.
Anger, a lot of marriages have these underlying anger is simmering because you're expecting something. It didn't happen.
You think your partner should do something.
Right.
And they don't do it.
Right.
You don't discuss it.
Right.
And then it simmers.
Right. And you let it simmer and simmer and simmer, and then it starts to cook. Ooh.
Okay, so quickly,
let's
some
get
questions that we asked last week.
Yeah, we had a lot of people who said we wanted more from last week because we didn't get to finish it.
What were your expectations of your spouse when you got married? For example, I thought that my husband was going to be a Mr. Handyman and
fix it like
my daddy. Like my daddy could build a house with just the hammer, the nails, and some wood, and he could build a house.
He could build anything. He was a Mr. Fix.
He did the fencing. He repaired the cars. I mean, he had a grocery store. He had my daddy could do everything.
Could do all of that. And she married me thinking I'm going to be
not the handyman. No. What were some? Why don't you put it in the chat? What were some unrealistic expectations that you see now that you had of your spouse when you got married? You know, like y'all were going to do the laundry together. I tried to do the laundry with you, but you got me over that because I bleached everything.
I got over that. She got a bleach issue. My clothes were all coming out. all different colors.
I did all the laundry when I was a kid. That was part of my job. I did all the laundry.
But everybody wore all white.
I just fell back into that pattern, and I just did the laundry because that's what I thought I was supposed. I didn't even ask you.
No,
I just collected up your clothes, and everything was white or something thereof. And you just very nicely just took all your stuff. No problem, sweetie. I'll just do my own laundry.
Yeah, I got my own. So
did you have some unrealistic expectations?
And we got a bunch of them that have had it. And then we got a very important, we got a couple of letters that have come in. We got to talk about it.
We're going to talk about one. Just talk about one. Okay.
All right.
Did you discuss your expectations with your spouse before you married? We didn't.
We didn't, because most people do not. Okay, so let's talk about one of the great problems in marriage is that people do not talk about the things that they're thinking. Okay, they're thinking because they've got an expectation. They don't think they got to talk about that. You didn't talk to me about fixing stuff.
We just kind of like each other, and we just kind of work things out. But no, the things that we were talking that we know now that we would even share with our son and anybody else who will listen to us who are not yet married and who are thinking about it. These are some things that you really need to talk about. And since many young people now are getting married older and older, we call it they're set in their ways.
Yeah.
So you need to talk about all these things.
Money.
Right?
Yep.
So unrealistic expectations. And did your spouse meet all of your expectations? You met my expectations in terms of, keeping your promises to me and taking care of me. And when we got married, we lived in your mother's attic for a year because you were too cheap and said you weren't going to move into an apartment.
That's correct.
And I was like, okay. So I've gone from
well, what did I
having
promise
my
you, though?
own wait.
Oh,
no,
yeah, go
no.
ahead.
So I went from having at one time owning a house.
Yep.
To living in a condo.
Yep.
To moving back home with my parents.
Yep.
To marrying you and living in the attic in one room.
With no bathroom on that floor.
With no bathroom.
Okay. No bathroom on that floor. All right. So
obviously we did not talk about our marital expectations in terms of where we're going to live. I hadn't even thought about that. Had you?
Well, I hadn't thought about it, but I wouldn't, because I'm frugal, you can call it cheap, frugal, tight, whatever you want to do. I make $1 holler. I'm proud of it. Okay. And so I said, no, I'm not getting an apartment. I'm not doing that. That's not a good way to
so how did
use my money.
Anybody want to share how they handled that?
Mohawk Blondie's on. She just joined. That's the one and only Mohawk Blondie, Cheryl Reagan. And so...
So did you talk about your marital expectations before you got married, or how did you adjust once you discovered?
Well, some don't, and that's what we're talking about now. Some don't because they didn't talk about it. So what we want to focus on is the fact that research shows that 42% of marriages break up because of unrealized expectations. And so if we know that's a big problem, over more than a third of the
marriages, so the marriages that break up, 42% of those marriages that break up are breaking up because
of unrealized expectations. And so if we know that over a third of the marriages break up because of that, let's deal with that. Now for those who are joining us maybe for the first time, we want to encourage you to go to jollymarriage.com and order the book. We want you to order the book. If you're single, get 1 copy. And if you're married, get 2 copies. We give you a great deal for 2 copies because we want you to grow together and to improve your marriage together, and not one read and then the other one read. You want to do it in tandem so you can grow. Now, that said, one of the things we talk about in the marriage are the things that break up marriage: sex, money, communication. Now,
those are the top 3.
The top 3 big boulders. And now this is an example of unrealized expectation or unrealistic expectations. Is the fact it's a communications issue. Whether it's about sex, we got to talk about a little bit about that. Whether it's about money, that we have to talk about people who had money expectations that were unrealistic. And so what happens is they don't happen. You're angry because what you were thinking didn't come to be reality, but you never talked about it.
So unrealistic expectations, all of our topics are based in reality in terms of clinical psychologists. We do a lot of with Psychology Today magazines in terms of the research that's out there. And this particular, in terms of talking about unrealistic expectations, is information from Selena C. Snow, who's actually a PhD psychologist who's in Rockville, Maryland. Okay? And she says that relationships are actually difficult and require effort, thoughtfulness, and compromise.
They are difficult.
She says that relationships are actually difficult. I don't think our relationship is difficult.
No, she probably don't know what she's talking about.
We use her research.
We use her research. She don't know what she's doing.
You don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that.
But she does say it requires effort. We put forth effort.
We agree with that.
We put forth thoughtfulness.
Yes,
and we compromise. And that's
right. But the whole thing about difficult, that's not
I don't think it's necessarily a good word.
No, it's not the right word to say. We want to interview the other day we've been doing so many interviews. We're going to be on, by the way, we're going to be on Get Up Mornings with Erica Campbell.
Oh, Thursday.
Thursday morning. This Thursday morning.
Nobody's going to be up that time.
Well, a lot of people up at 7:30 in the morning.
Oh, it's 7:30. I thought it was 6:30.
No, 7:30. Okay. Or Get Up Morning with Erica Eastern, 6:30 Central. Oh. And it's Get Up Morning with Erica Campbell, where y'all can also hear my daily message at 8:20 Eastern, 7:20 Central with my Wake Up and Win with Dr. Willie and Dee Jolley.
So that's Radio 1. That's Urban. That's
Urban One and the Radio 1 network, the Praise Network across America. Now, what we want to say is that we were on an interview the other day, and we shared that 42%, as well as the fact that many of these marriages that break up did not have to break up because they had this mindset, expectation, that what this lady says, oh, it's going to be, what'd she say, use the word?
It's difficult.
Difficult. It's hard work. You know, you all heard that, yeah, there you go, 2 trillion, get up, Erica, that's right, you got it. And Erica Campbell, fantastic. I did a piece of her, nice lady. I did a piece about her on my Get Up Morning segment.
Your motivational?
About her new book. I love that book. Oh, it's a great, it's just a great.
What's the title? You just drew a blank.
I just drew a blank. More Than Pretty. More Than Pretty.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And so, God bless her. Anyway, here's what I want to say to y'all. That we were on this radio show, and the person said, it's hard work. And I said, ho. Understand. Oh, that's Griff. This is Griff. Hey, man, my dog. That's Griff. Okay, 2 trillion is Griff. And Griff is the co-host of Get Up Mornings with Erica Campbell.
Nice.
And he is that's my man. I'm his and he and his wife are on.
Nice. What's your wife's name?
Lanika Griffin. And he is a funny man, and he called me Paw, okay? And I'm with that. I'm good with that. And thank you, Griff, for that. Okay, now look, we were talking about this hard work. Marriage is hard work. People say, oh, it's so hard work. Well, look here. Here's what I want to say to everybody. Marriage is work, but it's not hard labor. That's the thing.
I thought he was so smart when he said that.
It's work, but it's not hard labor like jailhouse.
Making brick without straw.
Or breaking up bricks, like the 10 Commandments. You know, you're a certain age. Now, let me tell you something. You're a certain age when you watch the 10 Commandments that come on Easter weekend. Okay, we certain.
It's been around for 64.
It's been around for 64 years. And so, but we've seen it a million times, but we still watch because it inspired us how, you know, Moses went up on the mountain and got the 10 Commandments. And
he was persistent.
All right, so now let's talk about this fact that it's hard work. No, it's work, but it's not hard labor. What it takes is communication.
Yes.
You got to talk about sex. You got to talk about, and here's the problem. Church folks often won't talk about sex because they say, you know, that's a touchy feeling.
But you were doing it before you got
married.
Come on. Tell the truth and shame the devil. Tell the truth and shame the devil. But then you got pious. And you pull the sheet up your head. And nothing else going on.
All right, so it's about sex. We talk about that because church folks won't, and then we talk about money. And we know that even 50% of church folks break up. So let's talk about unrealistic.
Okay, all right. Let's go back. Just a quick review. When you have unrealistic expectations, that means disappointment. You're setting yourself up for disappointment.
Yep.
If you set yourself up for disappointment, then eventually you end up being angry. And then what does anger lead to?
Anger leads to shutting down the sex.
Of course, that's what you said.
You know I'm going to go to the sex. Okay, I'm going to talk about the sex somewhere in this show. Because it's critically important that we talk about sex and marriage, and we got to talk about that.
Okay.
The Bible says that the bed is undefiled. Okay. Come.
We're talking about unrealistic expectations. What is an expectation? That's a belief that you have.
Yep.
And where does the belief come from?
Well, it comes from your parents, or there are 3 ways to get your lessons. Here are the 3 ways. You're imprinted, you're impacted, or you're inspired. Now, let me go back. Imprinted. You all came here with imprinting from your DNA. Your parents got together, and there's a certain DNA that you're imprinted with. She's an introvert. I'm an extrovert. It was like that when we got here, okay? The color of your eyes imprinted. The texture of your hair imprinted. And some of your personality traits are imprinted. But then
like an introvert versus extrovert.
That's right. That's a driver versus an amiable. Okay. Imprinted. Then you got impacted. Now the impacted is what you learn from your parents. You learn how to speak. You learn how to say your name. You learn the language. If you grew up in
France. How to make up your bed. How to cook, maybe.
Maybe all of that. But if you grew up in France, you were impacted with a French language. You grew up in America, you were impacted with speaking English. If you grew up in Hispanic areas, you were Spanish. So that's impacted. You're impacted by your teachers. You're impacted by your preachers. Impacted. But then you're inspired. Inspired is when you get another level of consciousness. You raise your thinking.
So how do you get inspired?
By the people you meet and the books you read. That's two ways. So people who inspire you and the books you read that empower you. Only two ways, all the resources that they used to be just books. It's audios, it's videos, it's television, it's encouraging. That's why we like Get Up Morning with Erica Campbell. Am I right about it, Griff? Because we are on there to inspire people every morning with another level of consciousness. People who are down and out.
Encourage them to rise above their circumstances.
Rise above their circumstances and maximize their God-given ability.
Amen.
That's why we do that.
Amen.
And so now that's it.
So these expectations come from all these different your own life experiences. You're so fancy, imprinted, impacted, and inspired.
Yes, ma'am.
You're fancy. That's why you have all those degrees.
That's
I love that. I love that. Yes, I do.
36 years and she still got the hots for me, and I love it. 36 years, and when this is over, we're gonna hook it up.
So for us ordinary people, the expectations actually come from your own life experiences.
Yes.
Some of it comes from your own life experiences.
Yes.
And that's why you get in relationship. Well, my mama didn't do it that way.
My
daddy knew how to cut the grass and how to build a house, and you don't know how to do that. That's the problem.
When you married me, that was a problem. Okay, now that said that, let's keep going. We only got about 10 minutes now.
Okay. So when we talk about unrealistic expectations, it means not recognizing or being willing to acknowledge that what you thought over here is not really what it is.
That's right.
And not being willing to accept that.
That's right.
Therein causes confusion.
Another one, we talk about in the chapter on sex that people had an expectation that they were given. We've heard all of these kind of foolish talking that if I'm mad at you, you sleeping on the couch. What you talking about? I have never slept on the couch.
Why would I want you to sleep on the couch?
I don't know, baby.
You're my bed warmer.
Ooh.
Okay. Right. So here we go. Here are the most typical unrealistic expectations, and then our take on what it should be.
And we gotta get to that.
Love means never having to say you're sorry. That was weird because we want to
love means never having to say you're sorry. Look, Lanika says Griff is an extrovert and she's an introvert.
Oh,
you get it. That's how we are. Okay, that's how we are, and we've had to and knowing that though. Here's the key. I'm not trying to make her an introvert. I'm an extrovert, and she's not trying to make me.
But I had to teach him what it felt like for me to be an introvert in the midst of his extroverted activities 24/7.
She did have to teach
me. we end up now with a code. So after, particularly like doing Black Caucus times, and there are like 10 parties in one evening, and we go from one hotel, walk to the next hotel, to the next hotel. And we have a language, and when I say I have no more words,
she said I have no more words
anymore. He knows, okay, sweetheart, you've done the very best you can do, and I will take you home.
That's right. When she says I got no more words,
So number one, love means never having to say you're sorry. That's
ridiculous. And that's ridiculous.
I'm sorry quickly.
Look, the book we talk about, one of the secrets to success in marriage is apologize quickly.
Be the first one to say it.
When somebody says you hurt my feelings or something hurts me, don't be, why should you feel, apologize, do it quickly. And that means
we want to stay close together.
That's right. Next.
Okay, you should know what I'm thinking. Be a mind reader.
You did not marry a mind reader. We put that in chapter number 2, I think.
Some people say you should get me.
Oh no.
You should be able to finish the other person's sentence. Maybe if you've been together for like 30 or 40 years, and we can anticipate.
Right.
But that's because we've shared who we are and how we feel with each other 24/7.
I think that's leave the drama with your mama. We're in chapter number 5. Leave the drama with your mama. That you did not marry a mind reader. And therefore, you cannot expect them to know what you're thinking and how you're feeling unless you tell them. Okay, go ahead.
So I want him to know exactly what I'm thinking. Be responsible for each other's happiness.
That's a myth. That's a myth. We're not responsible for your happiness. One of the things that attracted me to her was that she felt complete without me in her life.
I was comfortable with myself.
She was very comfortable, which was what was attractive, because I was dating women who were trying to get me.
You know what? I think the word is needy. I think maybe that's the opposite.
Now, Danny here said, Danny McCrimmon, the great drummer, for those who know, and pastor, says, I've always been an extrovert since we met. He said, in fact, I was almost scared of him when I first met him.
Because he was so wild and off the chain.
All right.
I would believe that. Okay.
Yes.
So you should not be responsible for somebody else's happiness. So you come being happy with your own person.
Yeah.
And the other person just makes you
better.
A better whole.
Yeah, a better whole. You were very comfortable in your own skin, and even now you tell people, you said it on the interview, that you are better now because
you make me better.
I gave a humor.
Because of the ideas that you offer, you give me a different perspective, and you, Lord knows, you helped me to have a sense of humor because I had none. I was a preacher's kid. I was fire and brimstone all the way. I can't change them. That is so major.
You hear that all the time. I can change them.
We're focused on, let me get to the altar. We spend more time working on the wedding than we do on the marriage after. Yeah. And to think, well, no, I'm going to fix that.
That's a mistake.
That is not going to happen. You got to take them as they are.
Take them as they are.
Like my hubby is not a neat person. And some things when people say, well, what is it about? I push those things out of my head. There's so many other things.
You're looking for perfect. If you're looking for perfect, you're not going to happen. Not going to happen. And so I take her, she's OCD, and we are completely different. She is, everything got to be in a little place, a certain place. I'm the complete opposite. Okay?
You laugh at me, I can laugh at myself too.
Yep.
And I'm aware that I have challenges, just like I know you do.
And sometimes I put stuff in the wrong place so I can see it go. And
I know he's done
Lanika
that.
asked, where can you get the book? Actually, you can get it at jollymarriage.com, Lanika. Jollymarriage.com. You can get 2 just about for the price of 1, and y'all read it. It's called Make Love. The book is called Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last.
Okay, that was number 4.
10 Secrets to Shape a Great Marriage.
Okay, that was number 4. I can change it. Number 5 was you shouldn't have to work in marriage. Your spouse should automatically complete you. That's dumb.
That's dumb. That's dumb. You gotta work, but it's not hard labor.
Again, you're coming from different environments.
Yep.
You have the same values. Hopefully, you share the same values.
Critically important. That's why we say chapter number 1, friends first.
Right.
That you come as friends. You're not trying to get married because somebody looked good, or boom, boom, bang, bang, bam, bam, or somebody had a nice car or made money. You like being around that person.
So your spouse doesn't complete you, but you're working together on this relationship.
Right.
But it's not. What you say is not hard work.
It's work, but it's not hard labor.
But it's not hard labor.
That's
okay.
Right.
So you have the same values, but your cultural experiences might be different, and how it plays out might be different.
That's right.
And that's how you
communicate with each other. Okay, this is a big one.
Okay. So number 6, sex will always be super fabulous because you love each other. I have a question.
Yes.
Is that always true? And here's one. Who has ever had medicinal sex? Who knows what that
We know what that is.
Tell the truth, you shake it down.
Yeah, we know what that is.
Okay,
She had a cold one time. I said, let a brother hook you up and make you feel better. You're like chicken soup. I got to.
He uses sex for medicinal purposes for everything. Get a sense of humor. But I think if you stop and think about it, a lot of people have had some medicinal.
Yeah, they have to have some medicinal. It's medicine. It's sexual healing, baby.
Okay, number 7.
Okay, go ahead.
Number 7. Their family will love you as much as your spouse does.
Now we have had lots of letters from people who we had somebody here on the call on the line that just a couple weeks ago said they have an issue with the in-laws, and it is.
We haven't gotten to that as a topic.
We have to talk. You remember that
we can discuss it intellectually.
We talk to you as marriage mentors, not marriage counselors, because we don't pretend or proclaim that we're marriage counselors. We're marriage mentors.
So, counselor, this is how we did it.
This is how we did what worked for us. Now, we did not have that in-law issue. We didn't. My mother loved my wife from day one. We lived with her, and my mother loved her, and I loved her parents. I mean, I loved her parents. Her mother was really, really easy to love. Her father was, he was
it took him a minute.
Yeah, it took him a minute. He was an introvert. He was not an extrovert.
And once he discovered he was a theology student, well,
had a degree in theology.
Had a degree in theology.
He's a pastor. He liked me when I was in there reading his theology books.
Yeah.
He said, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
He came in one evening. I was new to him.
He wasn't a city slicker anymore.
Yeah. And he liked me there, and we became, and then he became Pop. Now, Griff, you like this. We called him Popeye. And not Pawpaw. I like Pawpaw though, but we called him Popeye. And so I'd say, Popeye, what do you need? And he said, Willie, I'm coming up to visit. I said, hey, I'll take you wherever you want. So we would go places together. We were good friends, and so that was a blessing. Okay, now let's get to this question. We only got about 4 or 5 minutes.
Okay. So let's go back. Do we need to?
No, we don't review because we got to go right to this question.
Okay. So the question for tonight, which is a question that
really we got a letter.
An email.
Mm-hmm.
It's an
email. All right, email.
An email you got, and it was to you specifically, and it said, "How do I get past an full-blown affair?" And that was it.
Yep.
How do I get past or get over a full-blown affair?
And my response, we both responded. I responded, first of all, that we have people in the book, in the chapter on sex, my friend Kevin Toney, who had a 25-year extramarital, a number of extramarital affairs, full-blown.
That was cultural.
That was because his father and uncle had told him when he was growing up, called the men's code, that men always have one on the side. Okay, always have one on the side. He was raised that way. Well, when he got married, a beautiful lady, he went with that code. And he was in the music industry. He was traveling a lot. He always had these affairs until one day one of his friends, who he thought was going to cover for him, had gone and made a commitment to the Lord and said, "I'm not lying for you. I told your wife, you all got to have a talk." And it was a come to Jesus time, and he had to confess, and he accepted the Lord. He got involved with his church, and then he wrote a book called Breaking the Men's Code. Now, what we say in that is this. I told her, I said, first of all, look at his marriage. They are healed, whole after that kind of experience, 25 years. But they went through.
She was forgiven.
Well, they went through counseling. She had to rebuild trust. And so the question is, how do you get over it or get past of it? Is he continuing it or she continuing it? Is it a continuation, or are they trying to change? And that's the key. So you got to go to counseling. You got to rebuild trust. Trust, I had on my show, my XM show, my Sirius XM show this week, David Horsager, and he talked about the impact trust can have on everything in life. Trust is the core of every successful
thing. And he was specifically focused on business.
Business and wealth.
Successful businesses and wealth, right.
Right, but trust. So you had to rebuild trust. So I gave the lady counseling, get some marriage count, and then Dee gave the really wise piece to add to that.
You are so kind. I simply said, You should get counseling whether you do it as a couple or not.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Whether you do it as a couple or not. And so she gave real good counsel. So what we say to people is, it's worth investing in your marriage, because you invested. I was riding my bicycle, and in fact, I'm glad Griff is here, because I thought about him the other day. I was riding my bicycle, and I told him one day we're going to have to do a bike ride, because I do 20, 25 miles. He said he rides a bike. And I was down at Georgetown waterfront. I saw these couples holding hands, and I said, I wonder if they're talking. I wonder if they're talking, and if they're being open and honest about how to get through this process and talk to each other. And what we've learned is how important it is to have communication. And in these 36 years, we haven't had an argument in over 33 years.
Sometimes you have to plan it. Doesn't mean we agree. I think that sounds like that's nuances.
Yeah.
But that's important.
Yeah.
When I think about arguing, it's like disrespectful and mean-spirited. That's not what we do. We can say, this is how I'm feeling about, or here are the facts as I see it here. Well, you think this. Where do we find common ground?
And one of
the goal is to always find common ground so that we can work together. Because we're better together.
We're better together. And success is better together. And so what we want to say to people is this. One of the common pieces we talk about in the book is how important it is to have the difficult conversations, the 4 F's: be friendly, be frank, be fair, be focused on a win-win. Be friendly, be frank, be focused, be fair and focused. That you talk about it, you listen, and you want to win.
So you want to listen more than you talk. And I think for some of us that's very
hard to do. But I've listened. I've learned to listen. And you'll talk to me, and sometimes I just say, yep, okay.
And I have to say, tell me what I said.
And I have to be able to repeat what you said. What did you? Are you just going, And I said, now you just, we're in the car, and I'll say, here's what you said.
He's the driver. He likes driving his little electric car. I'm like, I'll be a passenger.
She like, because I like to drive it. I like to let the car drive me.
I read,
put it on autopilot.
And I talk to him, and then he's enjoying driving, and I'll say, okay, tell me what I said, and he will. So I know that case.
I'm listening. So look, here's what we want to say. Our time is up. We try and keep it timely.
Yes, and there are 2 things.
Yep.
Two very
important
things.
Very important.
These hotline numbers. You know what I'm getting ready to say? 2 hotline numbers.
Okay. Okay, Daddy Matt.
The National Suicide Prevention Hotline. Suicide is up.
Suicide is up.
Domestic violence hotline. Okay, so the suicide hotline number is 800-273-8255. Again, that's 800-273-8255. Share that with somebody.
Please.
And then the domestic violence, which is on the rise, because we're not through COVID yet, and people have discovered they don't like who they're married to, and some of them cannot control their behavior. 800-799-7233.
Say it again.
800-799-7233.
And let's talk about real quick. You got a list of what domestic violence is.
Domestic violence can be physical.
Yep.
It can be sexual. It can be emotional. It can be psychological. It can be spiritual. See, I didn't know that. Using the words in the Bible against the person. Oh my goodness. It can be cultural violence and just verbal violence. Usually verbal and the sexual and the physical kind of go together.
We don't want you to go through any kind of domestic violence.
No.
That is not necessary. And anybody who even thinks that is the way to have a great relationship, you've got to change that paradigm. It is not good for your marriage. Seek help. If you already think this is the way that you should be doing.
You're not worthy.
If you're not worthy, or you stay in a relationship or stay in a house where somebody's physically abusive to you, I had a girl once, and I'd leave it to this. When I was in junior high school, the girl said, I walked her home, and she said, if we were dating, would you hit me? I said, no, I never hit you. She said, but if you didn't hit me, you wouldn't love me, because that was her paradigm. She'd seen a movie with her parents or something. I said, oh my God. I said, that's not good. And I mentioned to my mother. I was in junior high school. Mentioned to my mother. And my mother said, leave that girl alone. Leave that girl alone. Now, my mama made sure she said something to me and my brother, and we listened. She said, always marry a smart woman. Make sure you marry a smart woman, and you'll have a better life. Because a dumb woman is going to give you nothing but trouble. Shoot. I listened to mama. I got me a smart one. This woman is smart. Look, we got to go. Thank y'all. Listen to us on Thursday morning on Get Up Morning with Erica Campbell. Griff, you know your papa love you, man. And then all of y'all who are here, Danny Mac, all of y'all, thank y'all for joining us. Tell everybody, lottie-dottie of everybody about this Monday night, 9 o'clock. And go to jollymarriage.com and order 2 copies of the book or get the whole package. 2 books, 2 workbooks, an audio book, and a CD. God love y'all. Have a great week on purpose. This is Dr. Willie Jolley.
And this is Dee Taylor-Jolley.
Jolley out.
Jolley out.
God bless you.